Welcome to Consume Content. This is episode 6. I'm Josh. This is Matt.
I'm Matt.
That's Matt. Today we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about... What?
I need a little more energy. You're a little too NPR right now.
I'm a little too NPR right now. Maybe because I'm tired. Maybe because I hold down a full-time job, Matt. All right? So do you.
Shut up. And I don't... Yeah,
I said you do.
On.
I just said you do.
So what is that argument then?
Okay. I'm just saying. I'm tired.
Okay, you can say it. Your job is more demanding, I think, especially physically. So, I guess I don't have room to complain.
I occasionally have to walk down a flight of stairs. That's all it is. It's not any more difficult than your job. Like it's a pretty.
I don't have to walk down any stairs.
Unless you're taking your dog out for a walk.
But then that's not work.
It's not work. True, it's a break. But I don't know. It's I'm envious. I'm envious of you. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. What we're here to talk about today is content, right? I'm trying to figure out... I've watched a lot of TikToks about business and marketing and that grind set mentality. And I almost drank the Kool-Aid. I almost started drinking the Kool-Aid and whatnot. Okay, I drank the Kool-Aid a little bit.
Kool-Aid?
I might have purchased a masterclass subscription for a year.
Oh yeah,
I definitely did, but anyways,
that's a lot of Kool-Aid, Josh.
A lot of Kool-Aid. Anyway, it's not that expensive. It's only $180 for the year, but
that's a lot of Kool-Aid.
It's a lot of content, is what it is. A lot of content. A lot of rich and famous people talking about how they do their shit, and some of it's interesting. You know, Richard Branson, he talks about the title of his whole series is called Disrupt. What is it called? Disruptive entrepreneurship, because he's just a weird guy. Like he's famous for his crazy business ideas. That's what you
know. Just get to the list. We're not talking about masterclass. We can talk about that later.
I mean, I would recommend his masterclass just because more as like a documentary, less about advice. It's not very practical advice, because he's just like did crazy shit and then it worked out for the best. Not everything he did worked out for the best, and I don't really cover that. But
he was on that episode of Friends, right? That's all he's done?
I think in the world of entertainment, yeah. I think that's all he's done.
No, he must have done more than that.
I think he flew a plane once.
He has a whole episode of Cribs to himself, MTV Cribs.
Does he now? Was it an
I'm pretty sure.
Crib? Was it an impressive crib?
All I remember, I didn't. That show wasn't something I would casually watch. It's just I was aware of it. So it's like if I was flipping channels back in the early 2000s, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's that show," and I happened to flip and I landed upon his episode, and all I remember is he has like his whole island, a private island.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he was showing off the house on the island and his bathroom, his master bathroom. Mm-hmm. The toilet is on the other side of a wall, and it's just open to the ocean.
That's disgusting. Okay.
But it's not. He's so rich. There's no one in that water. There's no one who could come up and see him.
So he does cover that, how he got the island. He does cover how he got the island. He essentially, years ago, right, like in the 70s or whatever, 70s or 80s, he managed to buy that island for like the same price as a really expensive house back then. So like, I think I'll have to go back and find out how much he paid, but I think for less than what my mom paid for her house, which was like $400,000, I think he got their dog is like a black spot of a void, just wiggling.
He is wiggling.
Oh, he stopped because
there he goes.
What's he looking for?
No, he's just getting himself comfy.
For the audio listeners, there's a dog making biscuits, so to speak, or digging a hole into a pillow.
What?
And failing to dig a hole.
No, he's not digging a hole. They do that thing where they just kind of, dig up the ground a little bit, make it softer.
Yeah, he's doing that to a pillow.
Yeah, they love doing that. It's a nice pillow.
It's a nice pillow. I'm glad.
That's how they make it home.
Glad they enjoy it. But anyway, so Richard Branson, what he did was he called up the people who own the island, right? The people who were selling the island. And he said, like, I'd like to buy the island, right? And first of all, like, he used the island first before he bought it. He used it as like a first date. Like he told them he was interested in buying the island, and so like they comped him a bunch of shit because they thought he was rich, and at the time he wasn't. He wasn't.
There was a time he wasn't rich.
Yeah, there was a time he wasn't rich. He was like he came from like. He was definitely like a British kid who was wealthy, who came from a wealthy enough family to go to a boarding school, right? But he wasn't like a millionaire at that point yet, you know. And so, but he had started a couple businesses at that point. But he called them up and said, "I want to buy the island," and then they flew him out, and they comped him a bunch of stuff, like a yacht ride and like dinners and whatnot, to convince him to seal the deal so that way he would buy the island. But what he did was like he brought a date, and that's how he wooed her with this extravagant trip to an island in the Virgin Islands, right? Which I think I think that's the woman he married, I think. And he didn't have the $2 million that they wanted for the island. But he knew, like, he just had a gut feeling that no one was going to buy the island. No one was ever going to come and buy the island. So what he did was like he put a really low offer, which I think was like $200,000 at the time, I think. And he put that offer down, and he's just like, "Yeah, I'll buy it for $200,000." And they're like, "Sir, this island's like $2 million." He's like, "Yeah, but I'll pay $200,000 for it. Let me know when you want to sell it to me." So because he was betting that nobody would ever come and buy it, and after like a few years, nobody bought the island. And they're like, "Fuck it, just sell it to the guy. He'll give us $200,000 for this island." And that's how he got his island. Like, he didn't like buy. It wasn't like he sort of just like waited them out, and that was it. He just waited them out, and it's like, there he goes, mine now. Ridiculous, but yeah, it's a pretty entertaining watch. But don't pay $180 for Masterclass to watch it.
Oh, this is still about Masterclass? Move on. No one's
That's
gonna pay
where
for
I
that.
learned it, because he talked about it. He talked about how he got his island on his Masterclass thing, right?
He taught a Masterclass on how to buy an island.
Basically, it was called disruptive entrepreneurship, right? He doesn't do anything without being weird, without being disruptive.
I think he reached a whole amount of one person, and that one person is Mr. Beast. And that's about it.
I think so. I think. I don't. When will Mr. Beast come out with the Masterclass? Because he's sort of annoying. His editing is annoying, I should say, but it works.
That might not be him.
What, Mr. Beast? His editing?
The editing might not be him anymore.
Of course it's not him anymore.
It's not him.
No, he does. He just like directs now. You know, I'm sure he's just like a creative director now. So
yeah,
I don't watch really any of his stuff, like anything at all. But the memes I know about. But then like I've seen like people break down his content, and like one guy on TikTok broke down like a TikTok Mr. Beast made, and it's just like every 4 seconds he does something with the editing to make the human brain go ooh, shiny, like that's how it works.
It works.
That's how it works, and so. We'll see how if I can apply that in any way. We'll see.
Oh God, no!
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
I'm just saying. There's a lot.
Do you get how much work that is?
It's a lot of work, yeah. But you know, what if it works? You know. What if it works?
I don't want to do that.
You don't have to do that. I'll do it. I'll do it for the first one. We'll see how it works out. It might take me like 3 days just to cut all that shit, but whatever. Point is, Masterclass, get it however you can. You know, get it however you can. I've seen a couple.
Stop! What? Stop it!
What?
You're not selling Master. Are they sponsoring you?
No, they're not.
Are they trying to advertise with you?
God, I wish.
Because if so, Masterclass, get it wherever you can.
Speaking of sponsorship, though, bit of like podcast talk, I was wondering for sponsors. I mean, obviously, we're gonna, if we ever get sponsors, right? I would like it to be an ethical sponsor, you know. But maybe that's just dreaming. Maybe I'm just dreaming too hard, you know. Like I'd like to be sponsored by Tom's Shoes, you know, the company that gives shoes to kids without shoes.
I don't think we're in a place to pick and choose.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, we're not. But
the
saying,
length of our ethics are, oh, this company has too much money. Let me help you with that.
Let me help you sell these meal plans. Company whose name I can't remember. There's a few of those companies. Whatever. But no, I'm just saying, at some point, I would like us to have, you know, cooler sponsors. You know, I was watching a thing with Shaq. He only what?
Shaq, where is this going?
Shaq was talking about how he picks companies to sponsor to become spokesman for, right? Because you know he does some like weird stuff. You know, he did Icy Hot, and then he did like the general automotive insurance. You know, and then.
Well, I mean, the Icy Hot makes sense because he's an athlete.
Exactly. That's what his line of thinking was. He's like Icy Hot, like it's for muscle relief. People need it. It's a product. He's like, this is a product I would. It goes back to that thing where it's like, this is a product I would actually recommend for people. And so that's why he did Icy Hot. And then for the general auto insurance, he's like, people need insurance. People need affordable insurance because these insurance companies are up to no good. He didn't say that part, but you know, he picked an insurance company that he would like to do it. You know, he was a little more responsible with his brand deals. You know, there's no Shaq. Oh, there was a Shaq shoe. I forgot. Anyway, we don't have to talk about it.
He was a basketball player.
He was a basketball player. Shoe. Of course, he had a shoe.
I mean, if we're going down this road, might as well keep going.
I'm just saying, my dream sponsor, you know, would be, you know, something cool. You know.
Well, Shaq wasn't always so forward thinking. No, that sounds bad. Well, no, he's a pretty solid guy from what I could tell.
He's a solid guy.
But what I'm saying,
I think there's a clip of him though being a flat earther though. I think.
Oh well.
Yeah. Speaking of content, there's content of him like promoting or like supporting flat Earth theory, which we won't get into.
That's because he knows the truth.
We're not doing that. Don't joke around about that.
No, I saw a clip. I think it was on Hot Ones or something, but he told the story of when he first got signed or first got drafted to the NBA or something, and he got his first big paycheck. He got like $50,000 to start off, and he had never had money before, so he went straight to the car dealership, bought himself a nice car, went to the mall, bought himself like thousands of dollars of clothes and like watches and jewelry, and then he goes home and his dad sees him in the car with all the clothes. He's like, oh man, I want one. Like he wants one of the cars. I forget what car it was. So Shaq goes out and buys his dad the same car. He buys another of the same car. Yeah. And then I think he just blows all the money, all the $50K or whatever it was. And then he goes back to whatever team he had signed with. And so basically it came to it the next day. He was like in debt. He was like $30,000 in debt because he had no idea what taxes were.
Yeah, that oh boy, 30 grand out of the 50 grand. Ooh.
Well, I'm just pulling out numbers, but basically, several tens of thousands of dollars in debt because he he had no idea what he was doing.
No idea what taxes were. Yeah, because he was probably super young when they signed him the first time. He was probably like right out of high school they got him because he's huge.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. And so, oh man, I need to watch. I love sports stories, sports documentaries. I can't think of any content I would recommend, though, going back to the purpose of this podcast, which is recommending content. I don't really have any. There's
Speaking of, what? Is there any content you could recommend me now, Josh?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of something sports related since we're on the topic of Shaq.
Not sports related. I'm just trying to get us back on track.
Okay, fine. Let's get to the list. Right, we're 15 minutes in. Well, not really, because I'll cut the beginning off. But let's see. Last time I talked about Golden Kamuy, which is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I think it's a wonderful anime. What's up?
I hear you. I keep hearing you say that, and I keep thinking you're like a really white guy mispronouncing chamoy, like the spice. And
I am not. I am the exact opposite.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
I would
wait,
never,
it makes no sense.
I would
Josh
never mispronounce chamoy.
He's half Mexican. There's no way he could mispronounce chamoy. So I'm just thinking, like, why does this sound so off? It sounds so weird. It's
spelled Kamuy.
Oh, so chamoy.
Kamuy. No, chamoy. Never mind. Anyway,
you put it on like mangoes and watermelon and stuff.
Yeah, you do. I'm not a fan. And so let's see here. There's Golden Kamuy. Charlie asked me to put Tron Legacy on this list.
For those of you who don't know, Charlie is Josh's cousin.
Yeah, it's my cousin. Thank you.
And he asked you to put what on?
Tron Legacy.
You know what? If we can get him on, I've seen the movie, but it's been a while. I want him to sell me Tron Legacy.
Yeah, I think we'll have him. I think he can do a better job at selling that one than I can, because I think for him that was a very formative movie, very formative sci-fi movie for him. Let's see.
Because he's what? He's like.
He's 19 now. Yeah, he's 19 now. And so, you've seen The Addams Family, right?
Which one?
The first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The first movie, I should say.
Yeah, no, there's just so many different variations, and there's even a new show coming out.
There's a new show
right?
called Wednesday, where Wednesday goes to like Hogwarts or some shit. Looks good.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, looks good. I think I'm gonna try it. Did you see Bumblebee?
I did.
You did see Bumblebee. Did you see Need for Speed?
Yes.
You saw Need for Speed. Shame.
Aaron
that
Paul.
means I can't talk about Need for Speed.
Okay, honestly, you've mentioned this before, and I gave you the same reactions, like, yeah, I saw it, haha. But you were so excited. I'm kind of curious what you have to say about it, because I'm pretty sure I saw it when it came out straight to Netflix, didn't it? It was a streaming movie?
in theaters. I saw it in theaters.
Maybe I saw it once it came to a streaming service, but I'm pretty sure I've only seen it once. Yeah. And all I remember from that stupid movie, other than Aaron Paul being Jesse Pinkman at all times, was they're driving the Mustang, the fancy Mustang, across the country because they have to go to a race. They have to make it to a race.
The Shelby Cobra, I think.
Yeah, and it has to be refueled, and it's just low on gas, and they need to refuel it. So they decide, let's refuel it on the go. Yeah. We're gonna do it while we're driving because they have like this big tanker truck with gas. The girl who's going with them is like, why do we need to refuel? Like, why can't you just stop for gas? And he's like, no time. And then they're like using all these code words for it. Is like, why do you call it that? Why don't you just call it refueling? He's like, it sounds cool.
I need to rewatch the movie. I need to rewatch it before I talk about it because I don't remember that scene. I just remember...
Really? That's the only stupid thing I remember from that movie.
I just remember coming out of that theater loving it. Just having a great time. No narcotics involved. Just like,
are you sure this wasn't
movie.
A formative movie for you too?
No, it wasn't a formative movie. I wouldn't say that. But it was definitely a very fun movie where...
Josh is actually 15 years old.
Oh my God. I don't want to repeat that year. Let's see here. All right, so we'll skip over Need for Speed because I should actually watch that again.
And watch it again, and then I kind of do want to talk about it.
Yeah, because I love stupid car movies. I love Fast and Furious 5, 4, 5, and 6. I love those.
You don't like 3? You don't like Tokyo Drift?
I never got into it. It's a coming of age story. It's a coming of age story. It's a fish out of water. White guy goes to Japan, learns a new form. Like, he's there. He's supposed to, it's super strict Japanese conservative society. All these rules in this Japanese school. Oh, they got street racing too. What the fuck? They got even cooler criminals. It's a good movie. I won't say it's bad,
It is a good movie.
But it's a different type of movie, It's a different type of story.
But it was just so cool. I think everyone agreed. They just didn't mind.
Yeah, no, it
Also,
was definitely better than Too Fast, Too Furious.
yeah,
Like,
that considering that, I think that was the big draw as well. It's like, oh, it's different, but it was better than that piece of shit, the one that came before.
I think Too Fast, Too Furious is like, I can't tier them. I was about to, but I've not seen 8 and I've not seen 9. For me, 7 was the last movie. 7 was the last movie for me.
Ooh, because it got deep. It got you deep, didn't it?
Because he's dead. Like, that's it.
But
like, I cried at the end of that.
He's in the other movie, or I think he's in the 8th movie. I think he's in both. He's in 8 and 9.
I'm sure he is. They sneak him in somehow because they want him in there. But for me, let him be dead. Just let the man be dead.
He's got a family. It's all about family.
It's all about
He's got to protect Mia. He's got to protect the babies.
Hold on. How gravelly can I make my voice? Family. No. Okay. And so
that was pretty good for a second.
You really need to like do it from the chat. I can't do like I am Groot. Like I can't do like he really summons it. You know, like this.
I think it's just a natural.
It's
thing
something
for him.
It is a natural thing for him.
Some of it he's not trying. That's just his voice.
No, yeah. But anyway, no. So for me, Paul Walker's dead. He died halfway through filming 7. That's the last movie for me. That was the last movie, and 7 was really over the top and ridiculous and sort of like.
But that's the thing. They just keep getting more over the top and ridiculous.
I know that, but I was like falling asleep during 7, and like. I know he like his death really like put a wrench in the production, so they had to rewrite a lot of shit.
Yeah,
so maybe I'll go watch 8 and 9, but
I mean they're not like perfectly written masterpieces to begin with. Of course, so having to rewrite it wasn't really
They're so fun. They're so fun, those movies.
Yeah, it was still fun.
The tunnel races in 4, awesome, right? Well, pretty good. 5, love 5.
There's so many.
5 was a heist movie.
That's when The Rock came in, right?
That's when The Rock came in. I love that trailer. That trailer got me so pumped. When he's just talking about him. I love that trailer. Like, top 5 favorite movie trailers for me. When he's just describing them first and you don't know. Because first it's The Rock, right? You don't know that he's entered this franchise yet, right? And I'm presuming that you're watching this trailer at a theater, not on YouTube, so you don't know what the title of the trailer of the movie is yet, right? So you just see The Rock in like fucking tactical gear, right? And you're like, okay, what's he in this time? He's not quite at The Rock fame yet. He's not at Dwayne The Rock Johnson fame yet. He's just like still just The Rock, And
wait, no, he was
not at the top of his career.
He was not at the top, but he was
on his way up.
Big.
He was
still Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
So here's like, I would say like here's WWE, right? WWF, WWE, right? And then he does like Walking
Scorpion
Tall.
King.
Oh yeah, he does Scorpion King. No, actually it's just like here's WWE, WWF, right? Then he does Scorpion King, right? Then
it was still a movie.
For audio listeners, he loses points for Scorpion King. For the horrible CGI in The Mummy 2 of him as a monster, and then for Scorpion King, he loses points for that. But then he brings it back up with like Walking Tall, right? And which is a pretty decent movie. And then what's that other one? The Rundown, teetering upwards, right? Then he does some Disney movies, does his family films, teetering up in fame, sort of like wiggling around there, sort of plateauing. Right there,
the Game Plan. Oh, no, Vin Diesel did the Tooth Fairy, didn't he? Not the Tooth Fairy.
Vin Diesel did the Pacifier.
The Pacifier.
And
the Tooth Fairy.
So yeah, the Tooth Fairy was Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but then Game Plan.
Right. Yeah,
I think the Game Plan did sort of tick him upwards. The Tooth Fairy was definitely like a downward, but then Game Plan, whichever one was first, Game Plan definitely moved him up a little bit. But he was definitely on his way up, and I don't remember what was in between like Tooth Fairy and Fast 5, but like he
But-
definitely done a couple. Oh, he did like this movie called Faster, which was ridiculous, right? Like this was like early on
I'm
in the Rock's
unfamiliar.
career. Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you, but well, I'm gonna do it.
I, th-
anyway.
I think we're getting a little too deep with The Rock. I love The Rock. I could talk all day about The Rock.
I mean, I don't know if I can talk all day, but I can definitely talk to the next 5 minutes about The Rock. It's he did a movie called Faster, where he has like a revolver, like he's just fast. He's like a fast gunman in modern day, right? Trying to avenge his brother's death or investigate his brother's murder, and he's kind of slow, and it's weird. This is back when The Rock had to like all of his characters had to be black and not Pacific Islander for people to understand, to sort of like accept his identity, which was a really weird time in movies where just like he's awfully brown. What is he? We'll just say half black. We won't talk about the Pacific Islander part. And it's like, nice people, neurons firing. That makes sense. Okay, weird. And then you see him in tactical gear. It goes like, okay, The Rock, he's a cop or military guy of some sort, talking about these criminals, right? He's like, these are professional criminals. They're highly motivated, highly dangerous. Make sure you keep an eye on them at all times. And then it's just like, and then it's sort of like Rock turns to the camera. Whatever you do, don't let them get in the cars. And then it's fucking cars and shit. Then you see Vin Diesel and fucking all the other people. And it's just like, oh, it's the Fast and Furious crew. They're back. And the Rock is hunting them. It's great. It's great. I loved it. So fucking, that was just like, it's great moment for me. Loved it. Cinema peak for me in trailers. But anyway, yeah. 5's great. 6, even better. Because they directly call out in the movie what the plot is. Like what the tropes are. They break the fourth wall a little bit. And they just straight up say, like, these are just evil versions of us. And
Was that the one with
Luke Evans and the car that flips other cars? It's
the really pointy one, right?
Yeah, the really like the Formula 1 car that's just a ramp that you drive.
Yeah.
That made its way into GTA 5 later.
But what's his name? The
Tyrese?
Peter Quill's dad, Mr. Nobody.
Oh yeah. What's his name? Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell's in that one.
That's the one that he's in, and yeah.
The first one he's in, yeah. We're just like, we need you. We're recruiting you to stop this madman because he's using vehicular warfare against us.
And also the quest to get back the most uninteresting movie character in the world, Letty Ortiz.
Letty Ortiz, yes, Letty Ortiz. Just had to bring her back.
She's family.
She's family. She's family.
Family.
Sure, I just shacked up with this Brazilian chick, but she's family, and I was with her first, so I should go back to her. I should do the right thing. What?
She's not just a Brazilian chick. She's Thor's wife.
That's right. That is Thor's wife, isn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot. I completely forgot about that. What else? What a great franchise. What a great franchise. Popcorn movies. Gotta love them.
Wait, so you just spent the last 10 minutes talking about how great you think the franchise is, and you haven't seen the last 2 movies of the franchise?
I told you the franchise died with Paul Walker.
It didn't, though.
It deserved... Put it to bed.
It's just as ridiculous.
I know it's just as ridiculous, but
you can't say that until you see them.
I will see them. All right, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying they're good. They're that good. They're better than the first 7 or anything. But it's keeping the franchise alive. Like it's continuing.
All right. I'll watch it. I'll watch it at some point. You've convinced me. All right, so going back to the list, right? Need for Speed. That's how we got into this subject. Stupid car movies. Evil. Have you seen Evil on CBS?
Mm-mm.
Evil is pretty good. Pretty good. It is about this team of paranormal investigators. No, that's not accurate, actually. right? I don't know if you guys can hear the cricket. It's very loud.
I hear it.
Sometimes if you smack the wall, it stops.
It didn't work.
I think he got the message.
There's a praying mantis outside of my house.
I'll put the cat up there if he doesn't stay fucking quiet. Anyway, what was I saying? Evil on CBS, right? I think they're having.
Is that a SpongeBob reference?
Maybe. I think they're in season 2 or maybe up to maybe into season 3 right now. I've seen most of season 1, and it's so good. I have a hard time watching it. Like, because the synopsis, really quick, is a therapist. Are they a therapist? No. Yeah, they're a therapist, and what they do, one of the main characters, she's a therapist, and what she does is she testifies in court. She interviews criminals, right, to determine if they are criminally insane, or if they're just, criminally sane. If they're just normal criminals, or if they have to go to the loony bin. That's her job, to figure that out.
So it's The Shining.
Sort
Not
of.
The Shining.
Well, yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. No, because...
Or Hannibal. So it's basically Hannibal.
No, because it doesn't stop there. That's just the first character. That's just the first main character, right? That's her day-to-day job, right? And a priest in training, played by Luke Cage, yes. So you've seen the trailers. He approaches her and says, "We would like your expert opinion on this other case." And she goes, "What's the case?" "Demon possession." It's like, what? Ooh. And so I think it's actually the same case, because she needs to determine if this guy's insane or faking it, right? But in comes this priest in training, Luke Cage, who tells her, "We need you to help us determine if it's in fact a real demon possession." And she's like, "You're insane." And he's like, "No, I'm not. I work for the church. This is my job. We investigate real claims of demon possessions, right? And we need to find out. It's my job to figure out if it's a real demon possession or if it's not. If it's somebody faking, or if it's just some sort of hoax. Like, that's my job. Before we actually send in somebody to do an exorcism, we need to suss it out first. And I need a therapist. I need, or a behavioral psychologist. I need a psychologist. I need an expert in psychology to tell me things I don't know, because this guy is just a priest in training, right? So that's the second character. Then the third character is the tech guy, who's played by, what's his name from The Daily Show? I forget his name. But plays a really smart guy.
Asif Mandvi.
Are you looking it up now? Yeah. That sounds right. I don't know.
I just know these things.
You just know these things? Okay. It's definitely not like the computer screen glare on your face or anything. But
I don't have that.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh, you mean Commander Zhao in The Last Airbender, the M. Night Shyamalan epic?
I forgot he was in that.
Is that who you mean?
Yes, that's who I mean. That's exactly who I mean. But he plays the tech expert, right? He's like a handyman. He does all the tech. So he provides answers with like, okay, this is how they did it, because they investigate whether or not these things are real demon possessions and whether or not these experiences are real. And more often than not, he can find a technological, scientific answer as to like how this happened. Like, how is this guy hearing voices? Where is that voice coming from? Right? What are these experiences? Right? And so he usually has like the knowledge to suss that out. And the show just does a great job at scaring you. Just like making really unsettling things happen. And that's why I have a hard time watching the show, because it's like, it's partly very dramatic and very serious, and then like the evil in the show is legitimately evil. It's not like, oh, a demon possession, it's gonna eat your child. It's about the villain, because there is a villain, right?
You had me at eat your child. I'm
yes.
sold.
They don't eat children, but they want to convince people to eat children. Right? So like there is these demons, and it's debatable whether like the entire show never confirms whether or not like they're real demons or not, but there is a mystery, there is a conspiracy going on, and there people who look like people might be demons who are actively working to corrode the morality of society. They're actively working to make things worse, and with like real issues, and not just like, meh, we have a bomb in Times Square, or like we're gonna possess a baby. Going back to babies, they're actually trying to like incite riots, incite violence, incite school shootings, really sinister shit, you know, like real problems. That's what like
kind of like they're trying to, you know, typical demon wants to take down humanity, but they're taking the long route.
Yeah, the long route, like the devil on your shoulder route. Yeah, trying to convince people exactly to do the wrong thing. And it's this battle, right? And this team, they go from case to case it is a bit of like Monster of the Week or like Possession of the Week type deal, where like they're investigating a different incident, where
it's a show.
It's a show, and it's not just demon possessions. I think there's like one episode I saw on like there's a few episodes on miracles, right? They also need to suss out whether or not a miracle is real, and whether or not help the church decide whether or not it will recognize it as a legitimate miracle, because apparently they have like their own definition of it.
Why? What? Who cares? Why is that a thing they need to check on? Did someone get paid if they create a miracle?
Mainly like credit, you know, because if the church wants to like claim that this was a miracle and this was the work of God, they need to like make sure it is in fact like a legitimate miracle.
Who's like holding them accountable to that?
So they can claim it, so they can use it as like propaganda, I'm assuming, right? Because the church wants to be able to claim like this is a miracle in the name of the Lord, right? And they have to make sure that it is in fact a miracle, that is something magical, and not just some sort of like, oh, a new medicine that somebody took, or just like a freak accident that someone, you know, survived on just like by sheer luck, you know? Like sheer luck doesn't count. Like a girl being, one episode was about a girl who comes back to life, who's resurrected, right? She was dead. She was declared dead like twice, and then in the morgue got back up. And so they had to investigate. They had to investigate like what happened. How did this girl come back to life, you know? And that's what that episode's about.
That reminds me. You've seen gameplay for that new game, the Morgue Tale one?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's creepy. I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that at all.
That's what you think.
What? I'm not playing that.
Would you do it for views?
No, I wouldn't do it for views. And even if I did it for views, I become a stone wall. I become a stone wall. I immediately shut down. I do the same thing I do if I were to get on a ride at an amusement park. Close my eyes, pretend like I'm not there. Pretend like none of this is happening.
That's no way to live, Josh.
This is me on a ride. Not even a roller coaster. Never been on a roller coaster. Never want to be on a roller coaster. This is me on like on a smaller roller coaster, like at Legoland.
Well, then how do you know?
Because I hate the small ones too. I hate them. I don't like being flung around.
I forgot this about you.
I like to sit down and watch things. I don't like to be flung around and manhandled by machines.
Okay, so the scary video game fits this criteria. You're not being flung around.
My emotions are being flung around. Like my emotions are, my emotions are mine, right? I want to be moved by a piece of media, but not like that. Like, Okay, but maybe we'll play it. Maybe we will. I don't know.
That's what I thought.
The writing from what I've seen, the writing looked pretty decent. And so maybe I will play it. Like you play as like an ex-drug addict, I think, who like starts a new job, trying to put her life back together. So
Yeah.
not it wasn't initially compelling to me, but it's a lot more effort than other games put in to
Yeah.
their characters. But yeah, Evil, great so far. I need to keep watching it.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's really creepy, really ominous, and I love the actors on it. The cast is great. And then it's a multi-dimensional show in the sense where it's not just about the one thing, right? It's not just about the miracles and the demon possessions. It's about like the characters in their personal lives and how they bring the work home, or how the work invades their home life. Like it's really creepy, really good. Yeah, flawed characters all around, human characters, really good.
And we know that's a big one for Josh.
Yeah, it's really big. Characters number one for me. You can like great
But
characters can make a boring
unless
plot
it's a
great.
car movie, apparently.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Those are great characters.
I,
Great characters, even if they're caricatures, right?
you're using the word "great" very loosely.
I am. It's because it's very subjective. All right. I'm not saying these things are objectively great. I'm saying these things are subjectively great. Like maybe something we should start doing is like I've been thinking about is like if you like this, you'll like this. Sort of like that section in Netflix or on all the streaming services, which is like because you watched such and such, we recommend this.
So then, why would you emulate something that's already? They already have that.
It's just to give a frame of reference, right? So, like, let's say you liked Thor Ragnarok, right? Let's say if you like that movie, I think you would like Thor: Love and Thunder because it is same creator, same vibe, similar problems even. Like, if you didn't have a problem with the problems in Thor Ragnarok, some of those problems are still persistent in Thor: Love and Thunder. And so, if you don't mind, they're there because they don't really get solved because ultimately it didn't affect the box office numbers. But you get what I'm saying? Like it's, let's see here. Like if you like,
I just don't think there's a demand for that because it's like it's so readily available.
You're
like
right.
you said on Netflix.
You're right. Netflix does that. We don't have to do that. But also just trying to like. But at the same time, I don't know what to compare Evil to. I don't know what to compare it to. So I guess that's a counterpoint to my earlier point. Because Evil is... Because they use a lot of Dutch angles. Just a lot of Dutch angles to really just like...
They're not the first one.
Not the first one, no. But it is... It's more classic horror. And maybe I'm using What's up?
Could you hold that cat at a Dutch angle?
At a Dutch angle? Yeah, she hates it, but yeah. So this would be like a normal angle, right? Normal angle, Dutch angle. So Dutch angle. I hope you
now flip back and forth.
Our nails.
No. The angles. No.
I have to cut her nails. But I won't because she uses them to fight street cats. So, it's fine. She comes back with scars.
South LA.
South LA, where the streets are rough for a calico cat. But yeah, so no, it is pretty hard to, because it might be like, I don't know, I don't think I can say this because I need to watch more Alfred Hitchcock stuff, but it just feels more classic horror where like they really use moments, they use silence and they use camera angles to really tell you scary things are happening, where characters are just like, what the fuck's going on? Like they're taking a moment like, ugh. And it's not a fast show. Is
that not like a common occurrence with some horror films?
Sometimes, like, if I'll watch them,
there's obviously excellent horror movies out there, and I would say the majority of them will use that technique. Just giving pauses and silence.
I guess you're right. I guess the better ones do use that a lot more, but like, I'm more talking about in the sense where it feels a little more stylized in this show, as opposed to like, let's say like your modern horror movie made by Blumhouse, right? Which will like, yeah, they'll have like a quiet moment, but something will still be happening. You know, like they'll have the girl walk through the hallway, and then you're sort of waiting, and a jump scare might happen, but you don't know if it's gonna happen, and then they get you, you know, and then the girl has to run in the other direction. So like, yeah, there's a lot of silent. There's no talking there, but there is action. There is progression. There is other things where this is where more the characters as well as the audience need to take a moment to really like digest and observe what's going on, because what's going on is unsettling. And it's just like, and maybe it's just me because I'm a little hypersensitive to that.
Give me what kind of intensity? What kind of like, how graphic are we talking?
That's what I'm saying. It's not very graphic. Like they're mainly relying on like camera angles and like just pauses and moments to like point out. So like early on in the first season, there's a guy who begins. They show a video, right? This lady comes in and believes her boss is possessed by a demon, and she like shows this video of him just yelling. The guy's played by Lionel Luthor from Smallville, and if you remember that guy. And so he's sort of just like...
I didn't watch Smallville.
You didn't watch Smallville? It's okay.
No, I missed that one.
That's all right. And so I
saw Cheaper by the Dozen, though. Same thing, right?
Same thing. Superman with 11 siblings.
And a mom and dad. And a dog.
And a mom and dad and a dog. Yeah. And then I think it's the same truck, too. But whatever. It's same pickup truck. But... So this guy, he's yelling, older guy, he is a playwright and a director. And he's just yelling at people because he's a playwright and a director. He's just yelling and yelling and yelling. And the guy's like, yeah, he's angry. That's not weird. That's not demon possession. He goes like, no, but look at the back of his head. And he's bleeding from his hair, like from his hairline. His hair, like he's sweating blood, right? He's sweating blood. And it looks disturbing, and they're just like they're just watching, and you see their reactions to it. Then later they go, but of course in a typical narrative fashion, so they go in person to meet him, and the tech guy determines this guy must have hair plugs because that's why he's sweating blood. Like it's obvious that like he's gotten hair plugs, and it's been a bad operation. Like they didn't take, so he's clearly bleeding from his like new hair follicles, and that must be what it is. So we're just gonna take off, right? But then a voice appears and starts speaking, because they find other footage of him talking to no one, and then they confront him about this, and then a voice responds, an ominous voice responds, and then I'm basically spoiling the entire episode now at this point because.
All I got were hair plugs.
Because what they do is they go in and investigate, and then they find the answer to like what this initial question was. It's like, why is he bleeding from his scalp? Hair plugs. Let's assume it's hair plugs, right? Even though he denies it, let's just assume it's hair plugs and it didn't take blah blah blah, right? And so because they solve that, the show then has to introduce like a new weird thing, which is this ominous voice that's now speaking to everybody and taunting them and tormenting them. And the tech guy again comes in and goes like, it's coming from the speakers. This guy's hacked in. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna find the guy who's hacked into the system. They find someone who is like responsible for this hacking, and they track him down. They figure out how he did it. And then the tech guy goes, and it took a while, right? It took a few scenes to figure this out, to catch this guy. And then the tech guy goes, all right, now how did you log into my smart speaker in my house? And the guy's like, I didn't do that. And he was like, then who's been speaking in an ominous voice in my house to my family? He was like, it wasn't me. I guarantee you it wasn't me. And he like shows the evidence, like definitely wasn't me. So then this episode ends on the question, who is this other person? And who's this other voice? And why is this other voice implying that his sister had an abortion? Like, or has like a secret child, right? Like tormenting them with like personal information. So like that's at least in that episode, like it's not a blood and gore show, right? It's unsettling because it's like very precise. Like it's personally horrifying, right? So like if you have a secret or if you did something wrong in your past, like these demons are out to use it as leverage against you. Or if you have any sort of inclination, they're out to manipulate you into doing something worse. Like there's some pretty strong scenes, strong performances by like one of the guys who's portraying one of the supposed demons, right? And again, the whole show plays it off as if like never confirming if they're real demons or not, right? And there's certain like out of body experiences that like, oh, but is he really there though? Because this guy's seeing him in this light, but is that character actually there? Because this guy's currently high on shrooms, like, or ayahuasca or whatever. And is he actually there? And I have to keep watching the show to find out, like, are these demons real? Is this conspiracy real? Because they show you this demon, this guy who's supposedly a demon, doing other things, pushing this agenda forward, this moral corruption of society, one person at a time, you know? And
so is it one like narrative, or is it broken up into different stories? You said it ends kind of on a cliffhanger the first episode.
Well, that's not
Does
the first
it
episode.
continue?
That's
or
like
whichever
that's like the second
episode it is.
But yeah, so basically it's like case of the week, right? There's a different case every week that the team investigates, but it builds up over time. They're collecting their notes and trying to find hard evidence against this
overall contributing to like the whole season.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially there's two teams, right? One are the good guys, one are the bad guys, but you never really see the bad guys other than this one guy who sort of represents them. And there's more of them to be shown at a later time, presumably. And so you're watching the team trying to figure out and trying to catch up, because these guys have been doing it for such a long time that, you know, they have control. They have immense control over a lot of things. And again, they never show you like fucking spirits and shit. It's not about
Aww.
It's not about like that. It really is about like the question, like, is this shit real? Like,
but how long can they continue that?
That's what I want to know. How long can they continue? Because then they start digging through old books, and then like these guys, they all go by these names, and these are ancient demon names. These information kept hidden by the church for hundreds of years, right? But the important thing is that like what makes the show interesting is that on the team, they intentionally put characters, both the writers of the show and like, you know, the in-person or in-world church, right? Catholic Church, hired people who will actively question all of these things and look for a logical, rational answer to all of these things, so that way they can properly figure out if it's a real demon possession or not, or if it's a real miracle. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. The battle for the soul of the people is real, but is it really demons? Is it really demons, or is it really just evil, wicked fucking people? Which is, keeping that question alive is just really good in my mind, because there's so many questions they throw at you that they don't answer by the end of an episode. Like, at the end of every episode, they leave you with a little. Most of the case is solved, but they leave you with a little bit of something that is just like, why, how, and why did that happen?
Why?
And it's just like, how is that going to play into the future? Like, it's really weird. Like the girl I told you who came back to life. They figured out how that happened, right? I won't spoil it, but they figured out how that happened.
Okay, but this show, like that one example, it basically is constantly dancing that line. Yep. They keep seeing possible possessions or miracles or just crazy things. And they're always questioning, like, could it be? Is it demons? Is it possession? Or is it just, you know, a coincidence? Yeah.
But, go on.
A miraculous... No, go ahead.
But, like, that question isn't the most important thing. That question is not the meat of the story. because the meat of the story is the fact that this danger is real. Like,
But they don't know that.
Well, no, whether or not quote unquote demons are real is sort of irrelevant, so they can keep that question unanswered, because the fact of the matter is the consequences of the belief of demons being real is very much exists in the world. Whether or not this character is a demon doesn't matter, because he does exist in this world and he is wreaking havoc. He is convincing people, like this character who I've mentioned before, who may or may not be a demon, he's also a psychologist who takes a stand and determines if people are, mentally fit versus not mentally fit. And he uses this position to incarcerate people. He uses this position in order to gain access to certain people and manipulate those people.
Did you say psychologist?
I think he's a psychologist. Yeah, he's like a criminal expert psychologist. Same as one of the main characters of the show. And what he does is like he'll like if somebody's like a serial killer, he'll manipulate facts and ideas in a way that will help them go free, so that way they can go out and kill again. Like, that's what he does. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like mystical shit. It's not mystical, magical shit. Like, he's manipulating the legal system in order to allow evil to exist out in the world. Like, that's why it's like it's an interesting, darker, like more grounded twist on what evil is, right? Because for me, that's what like the biblical definition of the devil is. The devil on your shoulder convincing you to do wrong. Like, so much more interesting than... I love Supernatural. I haven't finished the show. It's 15 seasons long. I'm like half a season short from finishing it. But...
I met them.
You son of a bitch, and you never told me? Was it this year at Comic-Con, or is it like a previous year at Comic-Con?
Where did you previously? Because they're not making the show anymore.
God damn.
Well, he's on The Boys now.
He is on The Boys now. You never told me this? Jesus Christ. Anyway.
We got a signing at Comic-Con a couple of years ago.
That's nice. All right. I think... Yeah, I'm here.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Grandma.
Nope, it's not. It's just my mom. And so...
Mama.
Yeah. Let's not address it. Okay?
Sorry. I didn't even hear her.
Oh, you're right. I can always cut this out. But anyway, I probably won't. And so... Where was I at? You son of a bitch. Anyway.
Supernatural's great.
Supernatural's great, but...
Supernatural sounds like it's a similar take, like this world where demons and miracles exist, but
that's very
much more like lighthearted, comedic, like us
like,
against the world drama.
Like Supernatural comedy. Is very much about like, oh, the underworld and demons and monsters, they exist hidden under our world, right? Like here's us having fun, and then here's vampires waiting to bite us. But evil,
you gotta cut their heads off.
You gotta cut their heads off.
Steak won't do it. You gotta just cut the heads off.
Yeah, very specific rules in this one. But in evil, it's not about like this underground evil, this parallel existence that for monsters in hiding. It's about like
I'm having trouble reconciling that in my head. I get what you're saying, but it sounds like there's such a big emphasis on we just don't know if it's really a demon or not. The fact is, it's just there. It's happening. He's wreaking havoc. And I get that that's where a lot of this conflict comes from. It's like he's causing problems. Let's just figure it out. But it's also, there's this psychologist and this priest in training. Like it's a reason that it's not, two detectives figuring this out. It's them trying to figure out where this all stems from.
Exactly.
So there is a larger story, but it sounds like it takes a back seat to just, like you were saying, this demon of the week kind of occurrence.
Yeah, because there's a lot that goes on, and it is a bit of like social I wouldn't say social commentary. Maybe that's the wrong direction to lean into. But again, the question is important because these are very weird things going on, and it's a bit of like murder mystery. It's a bit of like murder mystery, who done it. It's a bit of horror. It's a bit of like psychology and sort of like they do an episode. There's actually an episode where the tech guy gets invited to one of those like ghost hunter shows. So he goes on for a recording for a ghost hunter show. So it's a reality TV show that he signs up for, and he does his job. Like he sort of like, oh, that's just this just that, and they show that almost everything he says is cut out of the show because it's too logical and makes too much sense. And the fact of the matter is the show doesn't want to answer the question if it's real or not.
He's not leaving enough to the imagination.
Exactly, right? So it's the show sort of calling itself out on that as well. Where it's just like, we're not going to answer you because it doesn't make for good television. But
you think that was all intentional?
I think so. I think so. I think that's the point of bringing that character onto that reality TV show within universe and saying that like the logical answers get cut
to keep
out.
The skeptics at bay.
Exactly.
We got the smart guy. We got the camera guy. He's doing his thing.
Exactly. And so, but it's a fun show. It's fun. I don't know about fun because it's a lot of like emotional work for me personally because I'm hypersensitive to that sort of stuff just because it's so personal. Like it's the scary parts about it are personal. Like this. Hey, what's up?
Let's sit down and watch Requiem for a Dream.
I don't want to watch Requiem for a Dream. That's terrible.
I'll just destroy you in 3 hours.
Oh my god, let's not do that. But I think we should call it here. I think for the recording we're at like an hour 3.
Yeah. So it just kind of was sprung upon us, but I'm glad I know about the show. It does sound interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we got to something good. Maybe we'll talk about Golden Kamuy some other time. And I hope that doesn't become like a running gag. We always end the episode by saying we're going to talk about Golden Kamuy next time.
No, we can't because it's Golden Chamoy.
Golden Chamoy. Great. Yeah, so that's, I think we'll call it there.
Can that be like our logo, our symbol?
It's a golden chamoy?
It's a can of chamoy, but it's solid gold.
It's solid gold. That'd be great. I'd have to pay an artist to make that for us.
Wow, I could poke around in Photoshop. We'll figure something out.
Okay, we'll figure something out. But yeah, so let's call it there. I think that was a good recommendation. If you're into something scary and like personally scary, not talking about ghosts and goblins. We're talking about like specific personal attacks from demons about your problems. Then watch Evil on CBS. Really good show.
Where can you get it?
Currently, it is on Paramount Plus. You can watch it on Paramount Plus.
Ooh, how much is that?
I don't know. I have it, but I forget how much it costs. I do have it.
Just put it on the credit card.
Just put it on the credit card. And so, but yeah, go watch it. It's nice. It's if you like scary stuff, if you like serial killers, because they do have like that's a component of the show too, like. The serial killer, are they crazy? Are they not crazy? Are they possessed? It's a whole thing, right? But this has been episode 6, right? Yeah. Episode 6 of the Consume Content Podcast. I've been Josh.
We talked about cars.
We did talk about cars as well, so I'll figure out how to title this. But we talked about Fast and Furious, and we talked about Evil.
Paul Walker.
Evil. All right,
you gotta give it more Mermaid Man.
I'm trying not to like blow out the mic, okay? All right. And
you
this
got a pop filter.
I do have a pop filter.
Go ahead.
I've been Josh. This has been Matt.
I'm Matt.
Goodbye.
Get it where you can.